Hello, my name is Josie, and this is True Identity in Him. Thank you for joining me. True Identity in Him is here for those of us who want to stay connected to God's Word in the midst of our busy schedules and life's interruptions. Please join me as we follow the weekly rhythm of the Parashah calendar and we dive into Scripture together. Here I share readings from the Torah, the Haftarah, and the Hadashah, the first 5 books of Moses, the prophets and the writings, and the Gospels, all in the Holy Bible. Whether you're new to Scripture or a seasoned Berean with many years of feasting on His words, this is a place to listen, to learn, reflect, and discover who you are in Him, your true identity. Staying close to our Creator, the one who gives the words of life, is essential. And knowing what His Word actually says is how we come to know Him, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Today, I read Parashah 39 and 40, Chukat, Balak, which means regulation, from the Tree of Life Bible version. This Torah portion is from the book of Bamidbar, also known as the book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 1, through chapter 25, verse 9. We'll then read the corresponding Haftarah portion from the book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 6, through chapter 6, verse 8. And then we'll conclude in the Gospels from the book of Micah, also known as the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 1 through 11. Okay, let's get started. Adonai spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "This is the statute of the Torah, which Adonai commanded, saying, Speak to Bnei Israel, that they bring to you a flawless red heifer, on which there is no blemish, and on which has never been a yoke. Give her to Eleazar the Kohen, and he will take her outside the camp and slaughter her in his presence. Then Eleazar the Kohen is to take some of the blood on his finger and sprinkle it 7 times towards the front of the tent of meeting. While watching, he is to burn the heifer, her hide, flesh, blood, and refuse. And the Kohen is to take some cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet wool, and cast them into the midst of the burning heifer. Afterward, the Kohen is to wash his clothes and bathe his flesh with the water, and afterward he may come back into the camp. Still the Kohen will be unclean until evening. Also the one burning it is to wash his clothes and bathe his flesh with the water, and he will be unclean until evening. A clean man is to gather up the ashes of the heifer and put them in a clean place outside the camp. They are to be for the community of Bnei Israel to use as water of purification from sin. The one who gathers the heifer's ashes is also to wash his clothes, as well as be unclean until evening. It will be a permanent statute for Bnei Israel and for the outsider living among them. Whoever touches any dead body will be unclean for 7 days. He is to purify himself on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. Then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd and the 7th days, then he will not be clean. Anyone touching the dead body of any man who does not purify himself defiles Adonai's tabernacle, and that person will be cut off from Israel, because the cleansing water was not sprinkled on him. He is unclean, and his uncleanliness will remain on him. This is a Torah for whenever a person dies in a tent. Anyone entering the tent or anyone inside the tent will be unclean 7 days. Any open container not having a lid fastened on it will also be unclean. Anyone out in the open field who touches a dead body, whether killed by a sword or was killed by a natural cause, or touches a human bone or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. For the unclean one, they are to take some of the ash of the burnt purification offering and pour some fresh water into a jar. Then a clean person will take some hyssop, dip it into the water, and sprinkle it on the tent, all of the furnishings, and the people who were there, as well as the one touching the bone, the one killed, or the corpse or the grave. The clean person will sprinkle the unclean one on the 3rd and 7th days. He is to purify himself on the 7th day, and on the 7th day he is to wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and at evening he will be clean. However, that man who is unclean but does not purify himself will be cut off from the community. He has defiled the sanctuary of Adonai, since the cleansing water was not sprinkled on him. He is unclean. This will be a permanent ordinance for them. The one sprinkling the cleansing water is also to wash his clothes, and anyone touching the cleansing water will be unclean until evening. Anything touched by an unclean person becomes unclean, and anyone touching it will be unclean until evening. In the first month, the entire community of Bnei Israel arrived at the wilderness of Zin. The people stayed at Kadesh. There, Miriam died and was buried. Now, there was no water for the community, so they assembled against Moses and Aaron, and the people quarreled with Moses, saying, "If only we had died when our brothers died before Adonai. Now why have you brought the community of Adonai into this wilderness for us and our livestock to die here? Why have you brought us from Egypt to bring us to this evil place, a place without grain, fig, grapevine, or pomegranate, and there's no water to drink?" So Moses and Aaron went from before the assembly to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. Then the glory of Adonai appeared to them. And Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the staff and gather the assembly, you and your brother Aaron. Speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will give out its water. You will bring out water from the rock, and you will give the community something to drink along with their livestock." So Moses took the staff from before the presence of Adonai, just as he had commanded him. Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly in front of the rock, and he said, "Listen now, you rebels. Must we bring you water from this rock?" Then Moses raised his arm, and he struck the rock twice with the staff, and water gushed out, and the community and its livestock drank. But Adonai said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust in me, so as to esteem me as holy in the eyes of Bnei Israel, therefore you will not bring this assembly into the land that I have given to them. These are the waters of Meribah, where Bnei Israel contended with Moses, and where Adonai showed himself holy among them." Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. "Thus says your brother, Israel, you know all the hardship that came on us. Our forefathers went down to Egypt, so we lived there for a very long time. The Egyptians mistreated us and our fathers, but we cried out to Adonai, and he heard our cry, and he sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. So now we are at Kadesh, a town on the frontier of your territory. Permit us to pass through your territory. We will not cross through any field or vineyard or drink water of any well, but we will travel on the king's highway. We will not deviate to the right or to the left until we have passed through your territory." But Edom said to him, "You may not pass through me, or I will march out against you with the sword." Bnei Israel then said to him, "We will travel on the main road, and if we or our livestock even drink any of your water, we will pay its price. It's nothing, just to pass through on foot." But he answered, "You may not pass through." Yet Edom came out to oppose them with a large and a well-armed people. Since Edom refused to permit Israel to cross through her territory, Israel turned away from them. Then the entirety of the community of Bnei Israel set out from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. Now at Mount Hor, near the Edomite border, Adonai said to Moses and Aaron, Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will not enter the land, which I have given to Bnei Israel, because you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah. But take Aaron and his son Eleazar, and take them up Mount Hor. Remove Aaron's garments and put them on his son Eleazar, and Aaron will be gathered up and will die there. Moses did as Adonai commanded. They ascended Mount Hor before the eyes of the whole community. Moses removed Aaron's garments and placed them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there at the top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar descended the mountain. And when they saw that Aaron had died, the entire community mourned Aaron for 30 days. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard that Israel was coming along the road to Atarim, he attacked Israel and he captured some of them. Then Israel vowed to Adonai and stated, If you deliver this people into our hand, we will put their cities under the ban of destruction. Adonai listened to Israel's plea and delivered up the Canaanites, and they put them and their cities under the ban of destruction. So the name of the place was called Hormah. They traveled from Mount Hor along the route to the Sea of Reeds in order to go around the land of Edom. And the spirit of the people became impatient along the way. The people spoke against God and Moses. Why have you brought us up from Egypt to die in the wilderness? Because there's no bread, there's no water, and our very spirits detest the despicable food. So Adonai sent poisonous serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. And the people came to Moses and said, We sinned when we spoke against Adonai and you. Pray to Adonai for us, that he may take away the snakes. So Moses prayed for the people. Adonai said to Moses, Make yourself a fiery snake and put it on a pole, and whenever anyone who has been bitten will look at it, he will live. So Moses made a bronze snake, and he put it on a pole. And it happened that whenever a snake bit anyone and he looked at the bronze snake, he lived. Bnei Israel moved on and encamped at Oboth. Then they set out from Oboth and they camped in Ije-Abarim, in the wilderness facing Moab towards the sunrise. From there, they set out and they camped in the Wadi Zered. And they set out from there and camped along the Ammon, which is in the wilderness extending into the Amorite territory. The Ammon is also the border between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of the wars of Adonai that Vaheb and Suphah and the wadis of the Ammon and the slope of the wadis that leads to the side of Ar and lie along the border of Moab, and from there on to Beer. This is the well where Adonai said to Moses, Gather the people and I will give them water. Then Israel sang this song, Spring up a well and sing about it, the well that princes dug, that the nobles of the people sank with their scepter and their staffs. From the wilderness they went on to Mattanah, and from Mattanah they went on to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley in the field of Moab, where the peak of Pisgah overlooks the wasteland. Israel sent messengers to King Sihon of the Amorites, saying, Permit us to pass through your land. We will not turn aside into field or vineyard, nor drink water from the wells. We will travel on the king's highway until we will have passed through your territory. But Sihon would not let Israel pass through his territory. Instead, Sihon called out his entire army and marched out into the desert to oppose Israel. And when he came to Yahaz, he fought against Israel. But Israel struck him by the sword's edge and conquered his land from Arnon to Jabbok, as far as the Ammonites, because the border of the sons of Ammon was fortified. Israel conquered all these cities and occupied all the Amorite cities, Heshbon and all of its towns. Heshbon was the city of King Sihon of the Amorites, who had fought with the former king of Moab and had taken from his control all of the land as far as Arnon. Therefore the poets say, Come to Heshbon, let her be rebuilt. Let the city of Sihon be restored. For fire went out from Heshbon, a blaze from the city of Sihon, and it consumed Ar of Moab, the masters of Arnon's heights. Woe to you, O Moab! You have been destroyed, people of Chemosh. He has given up his sons as refugees and his daughters as captives to Sihon, king of the Amorites. But we overthrew them. Heshbon, as far as Dibon, is destroyed. We have demolished them as far as Nophah up to Medeba. So Israel was living in the land of the Amorites. And after Moses sent spies to Jazer, they captured her towns and they drove out the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and they went up the road to Bashan. Og, king of the Bashan, went out to confront them, he and all his people, in the battle at Edrei. Adonai said to Moses, "Do not fear him. I have given him with all of his people and his land into your hand. You are to do to him just as you did to Sihon, the Amorite king who was living in Heshbon." So they struck him and his sons and his entire army until no survivor was left to him, and they possessed his land. Then Bnei Israel set out, and they camped in the plains of Moab, alongside the Jordan across from Jericho. When Balak, son of Zippor, realized that all that Bnei Israel had done to the Amorites, Moab became terrified because there were so many people. Moab was filled with dread because of Bnei Israel. Moab said to the elders of Midian, "The multitude will lick up everything around us like the ox licks up the grass of the field." Now Balak, son of Zippor, was king of Moab at that time, and he sent messengers to summon Balaam, the son of Beor, at Pethor near the river, in his native land, saying to him, "Look now, a people has come out of Egypt. Now see now, they cover the surface of the earth, and they're settling beside me. Come now, curse this people for me, because they are too strong for me. Perhaps I may be able to defeat them and drive them away from the country. I know that whoever you bless will be blessed, and whoever you curse will be accursed." So the elders of Moab and Midian left with divination fees in their hand. And when they came to Balaam, they told him Balak's words. And he said to them, "Spend the night here. I will give you an answer just as Adonai speaks to me." So the officials of Moab stayed with Balaam. God came to Balaam and asked, "Who are these men with you?" And Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent word to me. See, the people coming out of Egypt cover the surface of the land. Come now, curse them for me. Perhaps I will be able to fight against them and drive them away." And God said to Balaam, "Do not go with them. Do not curse them, for they are blessed." So Balaam got up in the morning and said to the officials of Balak, "Go back to your country, for Adonai has refused to let me go with you." So the Moabite officials got up and they went back to Balak, and they said, "Balaam refused to come with us." Balak again sent other dignitaries, more numerous and honored than these previous ones. And they also came to Balaam and said to him, "Thus says Balak, son of Zippor, please let nothing keep you from coming to me. I will richly reward you, and everything you tell me I will do. Just come now and curse this people for me." But Balaam answered Balak's servants, "Even if Balak gave me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot cross beyond the mouth of Adonai my God, to do anything small or great. But now you may spend the night here too. Then I may find out anything else Adonai may say to me." God came to Balaam by night, and he said to him, "Since the men came to you to summon you, arise and go with them. However, only the word I tell you, you are to do." So Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the Moabite princess. But the anger of God burned because he was going. And the angel of Adonai stood on the road to oppose him, and he was riding on his donkey, and two of his servants were with him. And when the donkey saw the angel of Adonai standing in the road with his drawn sword in his hand, the donkey turned off the road and went into the field. So Balaam beat the donkey to get her back onto the road. Then the angel of Adonai stood in a narrow path between two vineyards, with a wall on this side and wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the angel of Adonai, she pressed against the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against the wall. So Balaam continued beating her. The angel again moved, and he stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn, right or left. When the donkey saw the angel of Adonai, she lay down under Balaam. Balaam was very angry and beat the donkey with his staff. Then Adonai opened the donkey's mouth, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you that you have beaten me these 3 times?" Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you've made a fool of me. If I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you now." And the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey, which you have ridden as always to this day? Have I ever been in the habit of doing this to you?" "No," he said. Then Adonai opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of Adonai standing in the road with his drawn sword in his hand. So he fell on his face. The angel of Adonai said to him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I come as an adversary because your way before me is a reckless one. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If she had not turned away from me, by now I would have killed you indeed, but let her live." Balaam said to the angel of Adonai, "I have sinned, for I did not know that you were standing in the road to oppose me. Now, if this is displeasing in your eyes, I will go back home." But the angel of Adonai said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but speak only the word that I tell you." So Balaam went with Balak's princess. And when Balak heard that Balaam had come, he went out to greet him at the Moabite city on the border of the Arnon, the frontier of the territory. Balak said to Balaam, "Didn't I send you an urgent summons? Why didn't you come to me? Am I really unable to reward you?" "Look, I have come to you now," Balaam said to Balak. "Can I just say anything? I must speak only the message which God puts into my mouth." Then Balaam went with Balak to Kiriath Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep and sent some to Balaam and to the princes who were with him. In the morning, Balak took Balaam with him to Barmoth Baal, and from there he saw part of the people. Then Balaam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here and prepare for me here 7 bulls and 7 rams." So Balak did just as Balaam had said. Balak and Balaam offered a bull and a ram on each altar. And Balaam said to Balak, "Stay here beside your offering. I will go, and perhaps Adonai will meet me. Whatever message he shows me, I will tell you." Then he went to a barren height. And God met with Balaam, and he said to him, "I have prepared 7 altars, and on each altar I offered a bull and a ram." Adonai put a message into Balaam's mouth and said, "Return to Balak and speak this." Balaam went back to him. Behold, he was standing beside his offering with all of the princes of Moab. And then he uttered his oracle and said, "From Aram, Balak brought me, Moab's king, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me. Come, denounce Israel." How can I curse one whom God has not cursed? How can I denounce one whom Adonai has not denounced? From the rocky peaks I see him. From the heights I behold him. Look, he lives as a nation apart and does not consider himself as being like the other nations. Who can count Jacob's dust? Who can number 1/4 of Israel? Let my soul die the death of the upright, and let my end be like his. Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies, but look, you've actually blessed them." But in response he said, "Mustn't I speak whatever Adonai puts into my mouth?" Then Balak said to him, "Come now with me to another place where you can see a part of them only, not all of them. Curse them for me from there." So he took him to Lookout Field on top of Pisgah. And he built 7 altars, and he offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Stay here beside your offering, he said to Balak, while I am meeting over there. So Adonai met Balaam there, and he put a message into his mouth and said, Return to Balak and speak thus. So he went to him, and behold, he and the princess of Moab were standing beside his offering. Balak asked him, What did Adonai say? So he uttered his oracle and said, Rise, Balak, hear me, son of Zippor. God is not a man who lies, or a son of man who changes his mind. Does he speak and then not do it, or promise and not fulfill it? Look, I received a command to bless. He has blessed. I cannot change it. No misfortune is to be seen in Jacob, and no misery in Israel. Adonai their God is with them. The king's shout is among them. God is bringing them from Egypt with the strong horns of the wild ox. There is no sorcery effective against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. Now it will be said of Jacob and Israel, See what God has done? The people rise like a lioness, like a lion who does not rest, until he eats his prey and drinks his victim's blood. Then Balak said to Balaam, Do not curse them or bless them at all. Balaam answered and said to Balak, Haven't I told you? All that Adonai says, I must do. Balak said to Balaam, Come with me to another place. Perhaps it will be pleasing to God, and you may curse them for me from there. So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, overlooking the wasteland. And Balaam said to Balak, Build me 7 altars here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me. Balak did just as Balaam said, and he offered a bull and a ram on each altar. When Balaam realized that it was pleasing in the eyes of Adonai to bless Israel, he did not resort to sorceries as at the other times, but turned his face toward the wilderness, and lifting up his eyes, Balaam saw Israel dwelling by tribes. And the Ruach Elohim came over him, and he uttered his oracle and said, This is the oracle of Balaam, son of Beor, and the oracle of a strong man whose eyes have been opened, the oracle of one hearing God's speech, one seeing Shaddai's vision, one fallen down, yet with open eyes. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, and your dwellings, O Israel. Like valleys they are spread out, like gardens beside a river, like aloes planted by Adonai, like cedars beside the waters. Water will flow from his buckets, and his seed by abundant water. His king will be greater than Agag. His kingdom will be exalted. God is bringing him out of Egypt like the strong horns of a wild ox. He devours nations hostile to him, and he will crush their bones. His arrows will pierce them. He crouches like a lion or a lioness. Who would rouse him? He who blesses you will be blessed, and he who curses you will be cursed. Then Balak became furious at Balaam, and he struck his hands together. Balak said to Balaam, I summoned you to curse my enemies, but look, you've blessed them there 3 times. Now go home. I said I would reward you, but see, Adonai has kept you from reward. And Balaam answered Balak, Didn't I indeed tell your messengers whom you sent to me, saying, If Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the mouth of Adonai to do good or bad from my own heart. Whatever Adonai may speak, I will speak. Now behold, I am going back to my people. Come, let me counsel you what these people will do to your people in the latter days. Then he uttered his oracle. The oracle of Balaam, son of Beor, the strong man whose eye is opened, the oracle of one hearing God's speech, one experiencing Elion's knowledge, one seeing Shaddai's vision, one fallen down yet with open eyes. I see him, yet not at this moment. I behold him, yet not in this location. For a star will come from Jacob, a scepter will arise from Israel, and he will crush the foreheads of Moab and the skulls of all of the sons of Seth. Edom will be conquered. His enemies will conquer Seir, but Israel will triumph. One from Jacob will rule and destroy the city's survivors. Then he saw Amalek. So he uttered his oracle and said, Amalek was the first of nations, but will come to ruin at last. Then he saw the Kenite. So he uttered his oracle and said, Your dwelling is secure. Your nest is set in the rock. Yet Cain will be destroyed when Asher captures you. Again he uttered his oracle and said, Oh, who can live when God does this? Ships will come from Kittim's shore. They will afflict Asher and Aber, but they too will come to destruction. Then Balaam got up, went and returned to his own place, and Balak went on his way. While Israel was staying in Shittim, the people began to have immoral sexual relations with women from Moab. Then they invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, so the people were eating and bowing down before their gods. When Israel became bound to Baal of Peor, the anger of Adonai grew hot against Israel. Adonai said to Moses, Seize all the ringleaders and hang them before Adonai facing the sun, so that Adonai's fierce anger may be turned away from Israel. So Moses said to the judges of Israel, Each of you, kill your men who have been joining themselves to Baal of Peor. Then behold, a man from Bnei Israel came, and he brought a Midianite woman to his brothers before the eyes of Moses and of the whole assembly of Bnei Israel, and while they were weeping at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And when Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the Kohen, saw it, he arose from the midst of the assembly. He took a spear in his hand, and he went after that man of Israel into the tent, and he pierced them through, both the Israelite man and the woman's belly. Then the plague among Bnei Israel was stopped. However, 24,000 were dead because of the plague. And now we'll read the Haftarah portion in Micah. Now the remnant of Jacob will be in the midst of many peoples, like dew from Adonai, like abundant showers on grass, that does not wait for a man, nor lingers for the sons of men. For the remnant of Jacob will be among the nations, in the midst of many peoples, like a lion among the forest beasts, like a young lion among flocks of sheep, who, if he passed through, would trample and tear to pieces, and there would be no deliverer. May your hand be raised up against your adversaries, and may all your foes be cut off. Now in that day, it is a declaration of Adonai, I will cut off your horses among you, and I will destroy your chariots. I will cut off the cities of your land, and throw down all of your strongholds. I will cut off all sorceries from your hand, and you will have no more diviners. I will cut off your carved images and your sacred pillars from among you, so you will no longer bow down to the work of your hands. And I will uproot your Asherah poles from among you and destroy your cities, so I will execute vengeance and anger and wrath on the nations that have not listened. Hear what Adonai is saying. Arise, contend with the mountains, and let the hills hear your voice. Hear Adonai's dispute, O mountains, the enduring fountains of the earth. For Adonai has a dispute with his people, and he will argue his case with Israel. O my people, what have I done to you? Or how have I wearied you? Answer me. when I brought you up from the land of Egypt and redeemed you from the house of bondage. I sent before you Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. O my people, remember, please. What did Balak, king of Moab, propose? What did Balaam, son of Beor, answer him? From Shittim as far as Gilgad, so that you might acknowledge the righteous acts of Adonai. With what shall I come before Adonai? With what shall I bow myself before God on high? Shall I present him with burnt offerings, with year-old calves? Will Adonai be pleased with thousands of rams, with hordes of rivers of oil? Shall I offer my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my belly for the sin of my soul? He has told you, humanity, what is good, and what Adonai is seeking from you, only to practice justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. And now we go to the Berit Hadashah in the book of Matthew. Now, as they drew near to Jerusalem, and they came to Bethpage, to the Mount of Olives, then Yeshua sent 2 disciples, saying to them, Go into the village before you. Right away you'll find a donkey tied up, and a colt with her. Untie them, and bring them to me. And if anyone says anything to you, you shall say, The master needs them. And right away he will send them. And this happened to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet, saying, Say to the daughter of Zion, See, your king is coming to you, humble, and sitting on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. The disciples went, and they did as Yeshua had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt, and they put their clothing on them, and he sat on the clothing. Most of the crowd spread their clothing on the road, and others began cutting branches from the trees and spreading them on the road. And the crowds going before him and those following kept shouting, saying, Hoshiana to Ben David. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Hoshiana in the highest. When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred up, saying, Who is this? And the crowds kept saying, This is the prophet Yeshua from Nazareth in the Galilee. Friends, this concludes the readings of Parashah 39 and 40, Chukat Balak. Thank you for listening. I pray that we continue to grow in the knowledge of his word and draw closer to our God each day. Always remember that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. I encourage you to stay connected to him. Talk with him, reflect on his word each day. It is all about a relationship with our Creator. And remember, he loves you. And as you seek him, you will find him. And in that journey, you will discover your true identity in him. If you enjoyed listening to these weekly Bible portions, please consider subscribing to this free channel, turning on notifications, and sharing it with others. You can also click the like button so more people can be blessed by these readings. And before we part, receive these ancient words of blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Yaher Adonai Panav Alecha Vichunecha Yisa Adonai Panav Alecha V'yasem Lecha Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you, and may the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Shalom.